Good evening. Tonight, I'm making this video because I wanted to discuss the four assassinated presidents of the United States and to ask the question, could they have been saved by today's standards? Let's look at the first. Abraham Lincoln. He was shot and killed by the famous actor John Wilkes Booth at the time. Booth blasted the back part of Lincoln's head with 44 caliber Philadelphia Derringer. The muzzle velocity of the bullet was 256 feet per second, and that may not seem very fast, but when you got a marble being fired point blank at the rear part of your skull, 256 feet muzzle velocity, that hurt. I don't think Lincoln felt anything when it went in. Now, after Dr. Charles Leal saved the president's life immediately after receiving the fatal bullet by clearing out a blood clot from the entrance of the wound, Lincoln was, of course, moved to a boarding house across the street where he would live for another 9 hours as a vegetable. The original path of the bullet was thought to be from here to there. But then it was thought, well, wait a minute, what if it was in the opposite direction? What if it was from here to there? So what did? They introduced a silver probe and attempted to locate the bullet. And by doing that, they created what's called a false path. They caused extensive brain damage just by trying to look for the path of the bullet, the original path of the bullet. They created a false path. So now you had two paths, one from the bullet and one from the probe. So Lincoln's physicians caused even further brain damage. Now, if Lincoln could have been brought to our time from the past immediately after getting shot, could he have been saved by today's modern medical technology, the advancements in technology, neurosurgery, all these wonderful, advancements in medicine? Could he have been saved by today's medical standards? The answer is no. Even if we could have saved his life, Lincoln would have lived out the remainder of however many years he would have had left on this earth. He would have, no doubt, lived the rest of his life as a vegetable. There's just too much brain damage from the original bullet path, which they discovered upon autopsy. He had extensive brain damage. There was absolutely no way whatsoever that he could have survived, even by today's standards. It's a fatal wound. So Lincoln's ruled out. James Garfield was our second president to be shot. He was shot twice in the back by a disgruntled wannabe employee to the consulate of Paris. His name is Charles Julius Guiteau. The first bullet grazed Garfield's arm, didn't really do a whole lot of damage. The second bullet went deep into his back. And for the next, I think 2.5 months, the doctors kept fingering him. They kept fingering his hole. They didn't wash their hands. The instruments that they introduced a probe, just like they did with Lincoln, unsanitized, all right? And in the end, Garfield would die from blood poisoning, all right? However, if we could bring Garfield to our time from, well, when he was shot on July 2nd, 1881, could he have survived his wounds? There is absolutely no doubt whatsoever, yes, he would have survived. There is absolutely no doubt. Okay? Now, William McKinley is a different story. He is our third president to be shot. He was shot on September 6th, 1901, while attending the Pan American Exposition in Buffalo, New York. He was shot by Leon Franz Czolgosz, a self-proclaimed anarchist, all right? Now, McKinley is different than Lincoln and Garfield, all right? Czolgosz shot McKinley in the front, but just like Garfield, he was shot twice. The first bullet hit a campaign button, deflected, didn't do much damage. The second bullet, however, went deep into his abdominal area, and just like with Garfield, McKinley's doctors were unable to locate that fatal bullet. They couldn't locate it in Garfield, and they couldn't find it in McKinley. McKinley, his doctors done the same as they did with Garfield. They kept fingering his hole. All right? unfortunately, medicine hadn't really improved from 1881 to 1901. So once again, the president died from blood poisoning, okay, from his physicians. Um, and then, of course, now, so could McKinley have been saved? By today's standards, could he have been saved? It's questionable. McKinley had what's called fatty degeneration of the heart muscle. He had heart disease. His heart was weak, enlarged, very flabby, very weak. All right. So there's a chance that he would have died on the operating table. It's a miracle that he didn't in 1901. Chances are good he probably would have survived, but eventually his heart would have gave out because he had extensive heart disease. But as far as actually surviving, getting shot, yes, no doubt, he probably would have survived by today's standards. John F. Kennedy, okay, it's quite simple in his case, all right? If he wouldn't have gotten shot in the head, then yeah, more than likely he probably would have survived. He had Addison's disease, but he probably still would have survived. Addison's would have, caused major complications, but chances are good, by today's medical standards, he probably would have been saved. However, once he got shot in the head, no chance. No chance whatsoever. So Lincoln and Kennedy, no chance. Garfield, McKinley, more than likely. Definitely with Garfield, probably with McKinley. So that's today's history lesson. Thank you.